I watched in horror as time slowed to a crawl. The red punch left my daughter Emma's cup in an arc that seemed to hang in the air forever, before splashing across my sister Brittany's pristine white designer dress. The gasp from 200 guests was deafening. Before I could reach Emma, Brittany's hand connected with my 10-year-old daughter's cheek with such force that Emma fell to the marble floor. Her small body crumpled as tears streamed down her face. The worst part wasn't the slap, but what happened next. My parents rushed to comfort Brittany, leaving Emma sobbing on the ground. That moment at Brittany's engagement party revealed everything wrong with our family dynamic in just seconds. I stood frozen, unable to process what had just happened until Jack, Brittany's fiancé, actually stepped forward to help Emma up. It shocked me back to reality. "Emma, sweetie, come here," I said, finding my voice and rushing to scoop up my daughter. Her cheek was bright red, her eyes wide with confusion and pain. "I didn't mean to," she sobbed against my shoulder, her small body trembling. I carried Emma toward the bathroom, passing my mother who was dabbing at Brittany's dress, while my father patted her back. Neither of them even looked at Emma. "It was an accident," I said firmly as I passed them. "She's 10 years old, for God's sake." My mother glanced up briefly. "That dress cost $3,000, Angelita. You know how important this day is for Brittany." In the bathroom, I sat Emma on the counter and dampened paper towels to wipe her tears. "It's okay, baby. Accidents happen." "Aunt Brittany hates me now," Emma whispered. "No, sweetie. She was just surprised. She shouldn't have reacted that way, but adults make mistakes too. I was lying through my teeth. This wasn't a mistake. This was just Brittany being Brittany, and my parents enabling her as they always had. I'd been raising Emma alone since her father left when I was 7 months pregnant. Working as a nurse practitioner, I provided a stable life for us, but it was a constant struggle. Emma had been diagnosed with anxiety and ADHD last year, requiring special therapy sessions that strained my budget. My parents occasionally helped financially, something they never let me forget. Brittany, 2 years younger than me, had always been the golden child. Her successful career as a fashion designer, her perfect figure, her affluent fiancé Jack, everything about her was celebrated. Emma and I were afterthoughts, tolerated at family gatherings but never truly centered. The bathroom door swung open, and Jack entered hesitantly. "Is she okay?" he asked, genuine concern in his voice. "She'll be all right," I said, surprised by his concern. I brought her a new cup of punch, with a lid this time. He smiled kindly at Emma, who was still hiccuping through tears. "And a cookie." Emma took the peace offerings with a small thank you that broke my heart. Jack seemed nothing like the type of man I'd expect Brittany to choose. "I'm sorry about what happened," Jack said quietly. That reaction was extreme. Before I could respond, the door flew open again. Brittany stood there, a large stain now covering the front of her dress despite my mother's efforts. My father loomed behind her. "You need to leave," Brittany said coldly. "Both of you." "Brittany, she's a child." "It was an accident," I replied, trying to keep my voice calm. "I don't care. This is my engagement party, and you've ruined it. Just like you ruin everything, Angelita." "That's not fair," Jack interjected, but Brittany silenced him with a glare. "Stay out of this," she snapped before turning back to me. "I want you gone in 5 minutes." My father stepped forward. "Angelita, please don't make this more difficult. Just take Emma home." "Are you serious? You're siding with her after she slapped your granddaughter?" My mother appeared behind them. "Keep your voice down. People will hear." "Good. They should hear. They should know that Brittany hit a 10-year-old child over an accident." My mother's face hardened. "If you make a scene, we will reconsider our contribution to Emma's therapy sessions. You know you can't afford them on your own." The threat hit me like a physical blow. They knew exactly where to apply pressure. I looked down at Emma, who was shrinking into herself, overhearing everything. "Fine," I said quietly. "We're leaving." As I guided Emma toward the exit, whispering guests parting before us, Brittany called after me. "And don't expect an invitation to the wedding, unless you learn to control your child." The drive home from the engagement party was silent except for Emma's occasional sniffles. I gripped the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white, forcing myself to focus on the road and not the rage simmering inside me. When we arrived home, Emma went straight to her room without a word. "Emma, sweetie," I said, following her. "Can we talk about what happened?" She sat on her bed, clutching the stuffed penguin she'd had since she was 4. "Why does Aunt Brittany hate me?" I sat beside her, choosing my words carefully. "Your aunt doesn't hate you. She was upset about her dress, but she handled it very badly. Adults shouldn't hit children, ever. What she did was wrong. But Grandma and Grandpa took her side," Emma whispered, her voice small. That was harder to explain. How do you tell a child that her grandparents play favorites? That in their eyes, Brittany could do no wrong? "Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes too," I said finally. "But I want you to know that I will always be on your side, Emma. Always." She leaned against me, and I wrapped my arms around her. We sat like that for a long time. The next few weeks were difficult. Emma began having nightmares. She'd wake up crying, sometimes calling out "I didn't mean to," in her sleep. When my parents called to check in, they never asked about Emma. Brittany's dress was completely ruined. My mother lamented during one call. "The designer says the stain can't be removed. She had to order a new one." "Did you ever consider asking how your granddaughter is doing after being slapped across the face?" I asked coldly. "Don't exaggerate, Angelita. It was barely a tap. Emma needs to learn there are consequences for her actions." I ended the call abruptly. 4 weeks after the incident, Emma's teacher called me. "I'm concerned about Emma," she said. "She's been very withdrawn lately. During group activities, she barely speaks. Is everything okay at home?" That evening, I watched Emma pushing food around her plate instead of eating. "Sweetie, Miss Peterson called me today. She says you've been really quiet at school." Emma shrugged without looking up. "Are you still thinking about what happened at Aunt Brittany's party?" "What if I spill something again?" she whispered. "What if I make another mistake?" My heart cracked. "Emma, look at me." I waited until her eyes met mine. "Accidents happen. To everyone. What your aunt did was wrong, not what you did." 2 days later, I received a text from Brittany. "I think I deserve an apology for how you behaved at my engagement party. I was understandably upset about my ruined dress, and instead of controlling your daughter, you made it all about you. Emma should have been taught better manners. I'm willing to move past this if you both apologize." I stared at the message in disbelief. She wanted us to apologize to her? Before I could respond, my phone rang. It was Dr. Marshall, Emma's therapist. "Angelita, I'm concerned about Emma. She barely spoke during our session today. When I asked her about family, she became extremely anxious. Has something happened recently?" I explained the incident at the engagement party. "This explains a lot," Dr. Marshall said gravely. "Emma is showing signs of selective mutism triggered by trauma. She's afraid of making mistakes and facing punishment." "What can I do?" I asked, panic rising in my throat. "We need to increase our sessions and create a safe environment where she knows she won't be punished for accidents. But Angelita, she needs to be protected from people who might reinforce this trauma." I knew exactly who she meant. The next day, my mother called. "We need to talk about Thanksgiving. Brittany wants to host this year. Emma and I won't be coming if Brittany will be there." My mother sighed dramatically. "This has gone on long enough, Angelita. Family is more important than pride." "This isn't about pride. Emma is developing serious anxiety because of what happened. Her therapist says she's showing signs of selective mutism." Always so dramatic. "Emma is fine. She's just a sensitive child." "She's not fine, Mom. And I won't put her in a situation where she could be hurt again. Brittany made a mistake. She's your sister. Family forgives." "Does that forgiveness only work one way?" "Because I haven't heard Brittany apologize." The conversation ended with neither of us budging. A week later, a thick cream envelope arrived in the mail. Brittany's wedding invitation, addressed only to me. Inside was a handwritten note. "Children aren't mature enough for such an elegant event. No exceptions. Not even for family." I stood in my kitchen, holding the gilded invitation, a white, hot rage building inside me. This wasn't just about excluding Emma from a wedding. This was a clear message. My child wasn't wanted. She wasn't important enough. She wasn't worthy. I called my mother immediately. Did you know about this? That Emma is explicitly not invited to the wedding? Angelita, many weddings are adults, only. It's not personal. Don't lie to me. Is Tyler going? Tyler was my cousin's 8-year-old son. The silence told me everything I needed to know. So it's just my child who's not mature enough. Just my daughter who's excluded? After what happened at the engagement party, can you blame Brittany for being cautious? That's when I realized this was never going to change. Emma would always be treated as less than, always blamed, always excluded. Tell Brittany I won't be attending her wedding without my daughter. Don't be ridiculous. You're the maid of honor. Not anymore. The moment I declined being Brittany's maid of honor, all hell broke loose. My phone exploded with calls and texts from every family member, each one more outraged than the last. My mother showed up at my doorstep the next morning, unannounced. You need to stop this nonsense immediately, she declared, pushing past me into the house. There's nothing to discuss. I'm not attending any event where my daughter isn't welcome. This isn't about Emma and you know it. This is about you being jealous of Brittany's happiness, just like you've always been. I laughed bitterly. Jealous? Is that what you think this is about? She's your sister. This is her special day. You're being selfish. Selfish? My daughter was slapped across the face and is now in therapy because of it. But I'm the selfish one? That's enough. My father appeared in the doorway, his face flushed with anger. I hadn't even noticed him waiting in the car. You will be at your sister's wedding. You will fulfill your duties as maid of honor. And you will stop this ridiculous vendetta. Emma came downstairs, drawn by the raised voices. She stopped halfway down, eyes wide with apprehension. Go back upstairs, sweetie, I said gently. Everything's okay. My mother scoffed. See? You're coddling her. No wonder she's so sensitive. Something snapped inside me. Get out of my house. Now. Not until you agree to be in the wedding, my father insisted. I will not participate in an event that deliberately excludes my child. A child, by the way, that neither of you have bothered to check on since she was assaulted by your precious Brittany. Assaulted? She barely tapped her. I have the video, I said quietly. They both froze. What video? My mother asked. Sarah recorded the whole incident on her phone, the slap. Emma falling to the ground. You both rushing to Brittany's side while my daughter lay crying. All of it. My cousin Sarah had sent me the video last week, saying she'd been troubled by what happened and thought I should have it. So, unless you want everyone to see exactly what happened, I suggest you leave now and tell Brittany I won't be attending her wedding. They left, but not before my father delivered a parting shot. You've always been difficult, Angelita, always making everything harder than it needs to be. After they were gone, I found Emma sitting at the top of the stairs, tears streaming silently down her face. I'm sorry, she whispered. Everything's my fault. I gathered her in my arms. None of this is your fault, Emma. Not one bit of it. That evening, Brittany called me, screaming through the phone. How dare you back out of my wedding? After everything I've done for you. What exactly have you done for me, Brittany? I've tolerated your brat of a child for years. I've included you in my life despite how embarrassing you are. Excuse me? You heard me. Single mother, struggling nurse, always playing the victim. Do you know how hard it's been to have you as a sister? Always bringing down the family with your problems? I was speechless. After all the years of walking on eggshells around Brittany, of making excuses for her behavior, of accepting the scraps of attention from my parents, this was how she truly felt. You've always been jealous of me, she continued. And now you're trying to ruin the most important day of my life because you can't stand that I'm happy. This is about how you treated my daughter, Brittany, nothing else. That little brat ruined my $3,000 dress. She deserved what she got. The casual cruelty in her voice sent ice through my veins. Did you just say my 10-year-old daughter deserved to be hit? Stop being so dramatic. It was barely a slap. We're done here, Brittany. I want nothing to do with you or your wedding. You'll regret this, she hissed. Mom and Dad agree with me. They've always taken my side, and they always will. You think you can stand against all of us? You have nothing without this family." After hanging up, I sat in stunned silence. The depth of Brittany's resentment toward me and Emma was shocking, but what hurt more was knowing my parents enabled and encouraged it. The next day, I received a call from my bank about suspicious activity on my credit card. Several large charges had been made at a bridal boutique and a catering company. "I haven't made those purchases," I told the representative. "I've never even been to those businesses." "The charges were made in person, Miss Porter. The card was physically present." A sick feeling settled in my stomach. I had lost my wallet briefly during a family dinner last month. I'd found it later in my mother's purse, and she'd claimed she was keeping it safe for me. After hours on the phone with the bank and credit card company, I discovered the truth. Not only had my existing card been used, but 3 new credit cards had been opened in my name over the past 2 months. The total debt was over $20,000. "I need to report this as fraud," I told the bank representative. "Of course. We'll need you to file a police report." File a police report against my own family? The thought made me sick, but what choice did I have? They had stolen my identity and put me in crippling debt. As I was contemplating my next move, the doorbell rang. It was Jack, Brittany's fiancé, looking uncomfortable on my doorstep. "Can we talk?" he asked hesitantly. I let him in, curious about why he was there. "I heard about what's happening with the wedding and Emma," he said. "I want you to know I think it's wrong. I told Brittany that excluding your daughter is cruel." "Thank you," I said, surprised by his support. "There's more," he continued, lowering his voice. "Brittany. She's not the person I thought she was. The way she treated Emma that day bothered me, but I told myself it was a one-time thing, that she was just stressed. But since then, I've seen other things." "What kind of things?" "She's controlling, manipulative. When she doesn't get her way, she becomes scary. Last week, she threw a vase at me because I suggested inviting my college friend to the wedding. She didn't like him when they met once, 3 years ago. I wasn't surprised, but it was still shocking to hear it confirmed." "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. "Because I think you and Emma need to be careful. Brittany has been talking about getting back at you. She mentioned something about Emma's school, about telling them you're neglectful because of your work hours." My blood ran cold. She wouldn't. She might. And there's something else. My sister Lauren is a child psychologist. When I told her about what happened with Emma, she was extremely concerned. "She'd like to meet with you both, if you're open to it." After Jack left, I sat down and tried to make sense of everything. My sister was actively trying to harm me and my daughter. My parents were complicit. And now, bizarrely, the man who was supposed to marry Brittany was warning me about her. The next day, I received an official-looking envelope in the mail. Inside was a letter from a family law attorney representing Brittany Porter, outlining concerns about my fitness as a parent and suggesting that my daughter might be better off in the care of a more stable and financially secure guardian. They weren't just trying to exclude Emma from a wedding. They were trying to take her away from me. The letter from Brittany's lawyer left me shaking. I read it 4 times, my mind refusing to accept what I was seeing. My sister was actually threatening to take my daughter away from me. The document cited my excessive work hours, financial instability, and inability to provide proper supervision as reasons why Emma might be better off with Brittany and my parents. I immediately called an attorney specializing in family law, forwarding the letter and explaining the situation. The consultation fee alone was $300. I couldn't spare, but what choice did I have? "This is a concerning development," Attorney Meredith Wilson said after reviewing everything. "But Miss Porter, I want to assure you that the claims in this letter are extremely weak. Courts don't typically remove children from loving parents simply due to work schedules or moderate financial constraints. But they have money," I said, my voice breaking. "They could drag this out for years. I can't afford that." "Let me be candid," she replied. "What your sister is attempting is a form of intimidation. She's hoping you'll back down and comply with whatever she wants to avoid a legal battle. So what do I do? First, document everything. Every interaction, every threat, every incident involving your daughter. The video of your sister striking Emma is significant evidence. Second, gather character witnesses who can attest to your parenting abilities. Third, consider filing charges for the credit card fraud. That will significantly undermine their credibility in any custody dispute. After the call, I sat at my kitchen table feeling utterly overwhelmed. The wall I'd built between my toxic family and my daughter was crumbling, and I wasn't sure I had the strength to rebuild it. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Hi, Angelita, this is Lauren, Jack's sister. He gave me your number. I'd like to help if you're willing to meet." We arranged to meet at a cafe the following day. Lauren turned out to be a warm, thoughtful woman who immediately put me at ease. "Jack told me what's been happening," she said after we'd ordered coffee. "I want you to know that what your sister did to Emma is absolutely unacceptable, and the fact that your parents are enabling this behavior is deeply concerning." "Thank you," I said, fighting back tears. "Sometimes I feel like I'm going crazy, like maybe I am overreacting." "You're not. In fact, as a child psychologist, I'm professionally obligated to report incidents of child abuse. What your sister did constitutes physical abuse, regardless of family ties." Lauren offered to meet with Emma professionally and to serve as an expert witness if needed. Children who experience this kind of trauma need consistent support and validation, she explained. "The worst thing is when adults try to minimize what happened or blame the child." As we were talking, my phone buzzed repeatedly. Multiple text messages from friends and extended family members, all asking variations of the same question. Is it true what Brittany is saying about Emma? I scrolled through the messages in growing horror. Apparently, Brittany had been telling people that Emma had serious behavioral problems and had deliberately ruined her dress out of jealousy. She was painting me as an irresponsible parent who couldn't control my troubled child. "She's trying to control the narrative," Lauren observed, reading my expression. "This is classic manipulative behavior." That evening, my cousin Sarah called me. "I've been hearing some disturbing things from Brittany," she said, "but I wanted to check with you before believing any of it." I explained what had been happening, including the fraudulent credit cards and the custody threat. "Jesus, Angelita. That's insane. Look, I don't know if this helps, but I have the video from the engagement party. I sent it to you, right? I think people need to see the truth." "I can't ask you to get involved in this mess," I said. "You're not asking, I'm offering. Brittany has been pulling this kind of crap for years, and everyone just lets her get away with it. It's time someone stood up to her." The next day, Emma came home from school in tears. "The other kids were asking me why I hit Aunt Brittany," she sobbed. "Grandma told Mrs. Davis's mom that I attacked Aunt Brittany and ruined her dress on purpose." My mother had spread these lies to the parents of Emma's classmates. The cruelty of it took my breath away. I called Emma's school immediately and arranged a meeting with her teacher and the principal. I brought the video Sarah had taken, showing them exactly what had happened at the engagement party. "This is disturbing," Principal Fletcher said after watching the footage. "Rest assured, we take the emotional well-being of our students very seriously. We'll address these rumors directly." That weekend, I received a surprising call from Jack's mother, Patricia. "I hope you don't mind me calling," she began. "Jack gave me your number. I want you to know that our family is deeply concerned about Brittany's behavior toward your daughter." She went on to explain that several incidents during wedding planning had raised red flags for them. "The way she speaks about Emma is troubling. There's a vindictiveness there that makes us uncomfortable." "Thank you for saying that," I replied, moved by her concern. "It means a lot to know someone else sees it." "There's something else," Patricia continued hesitantly. "Jack is having serious doubts about the wedding. The incident with your daughter was a turning point for him. He's never seen that side of Brittany before, and frankly, it frightened him." I didn't know how to respond to that. Part of me felt sorry for Jack, but another part wondered how he could have been with Brittany for 2 years without seeing her true nature. As I was processing everything, another financial crisis hit. The credit card companies were demanding immediate payment on the fraudulent accounts, and despite my fraud claims, the process was moving slowly. I was forced to pick up extra shifts at the hospital, leaving Emma with neighbors more often than I wanted to. Emma's condition worsened. She stopped speaking entirely at school and would only whisper at home. Doctor. Marshall recommended twice-weekly therapy sessions, which stretched my already thin finances to the breaking point. One evening, exhausted after a 12-hour shift, I found Lauren waiting outside my house with Emma and my neighbor, Mrs. Grayson. Emma had a panic attack at school, Lauren explained gently. The guidance counselor called me since I left my information as a resource. Mrs. Grayson picked her up, but she hasn't spoken since. I knelt in front of my daughter, whose face was pale and drawn. Emma, sweetheart, can you tell me what happened? She shook her head, eyes filling with tears. Mrs. Grayson touched my arm. The other children were teasing her about the wedding. Someone told them Emma wasn't invited because she's a troublemaker. That night, as Emma finally slept, I sat in my kitchen with a stack of bills I couldn't pay, and a daughter who was suffering because of my family's cruelty. Something had to give. I called my attorney again. I want to press charges for the credit card fraud, I said firmly, and I want to file for a restraining order against my sister on behalf of my daughter. The wheels of justice began turning, slowly but surely. The police opened an investigation into the fraudulent accounts. The evidence was damning. Security footage showed my mother using the cards at several locations, always for expenses related to Brittany's wedding. As the wedding day approached, the pressure from my family intensified. My father left threatening voicemails. My mother showed up at my workplace, causing a scene that nearly got me fired. Brittany sent increasingly unhinged texts, swinging between rage and mock concern for Emma's well-being. 3 days before the wedding, I received an email from Jack. We need to talk urgently. Can we meet tomorrow? I agreed, sensing something significant was about to happen. We met at a quiet coffee shop away from both our neighborhoods. I can't go through with the wedding, Jack said without preamble. The way Brittany has behaved through all of this has shown me who she really is, and I can't build a life with someone capable of such cruelty. Have you told her? He shook his head. Not yet. But there's more. I found something in Brittany's office. She's been collecting information about you, work schedules, financial records, even photos of Emma looking upset or alone. She's building some kind of case. My stomach dropped. For custody? I think so. There are notes about judges and child welfare workers. Names of people who owe her favors. It's disturbing. Jack slid a flash drive across the table. I made copies of everything. I thought you should have them. I stared at the small device, feeling like I was looking at a live grenade. Why are you helping me? Because what's happening to you and Emma is wrong, and because I was too blind to see who Brittany really was until it was almost too late. As I drove home, clutching the flash drive, I realized tomorrow was the rehearsal dinner. The perfect opportunity to confront my family with everything I'd learned, with witnesses present. It was time to end this, once and for all. The rehearsal dinner was being held at La Maison, an upscale French restaurant downtown. I hadn't planned to attend, given everything that had happened, but Jack's revelations changed things. I needed to confront my family, and doing it publicly meant they couldn't deny or minimize my claims. I arranged for Emma to stay with Lauren for the evening. Are you sure this is a good idea? Lauren asked, as Emma settled in with art supplies and a movie. No, I admitted. But I can't keep living like this, constantly looking over my shoulder, wondering what they'll do next. Just be careful. People like your sister become most dangerous when they're cornered. I dressed carefully in a simple black dress, applied minimal makeup, and pulled my hair into a neat bun. I wanted to look composed and professional, not emotional or unstable as Brittany had been portraying me. When I walked into the private dining room at La Maison, the conversations immediately died. 20 pairs of eyes turned to stare at me. Angelita, my mother hissed, rushing over. What are you doing here? You aren't welcome. Actually, Mother, I have every right to be here. I'm still technically the maid of honor, aren't I? I kept my voice light, almost pleasant. Brittany emerged from a cluster of bridesmaids, her face contorting with rage. Get out. Now. Not until we talk. All of us. I glanced meaningfully at Jack's parents, who were watching with concerned expressions. There's nothing to discuss, my father interjected, placing a hand on my arm to guide me toward the door. I shook it off. I think there is. Like the $20,000 of credit card debt you and Mom racked up in my name. Or the custody case Brittany is trying to build against me. Or the lies you've been spreading about my daughter. A shocked murmur ran through the room. Jack's father stood up, his expression grave. What is she talking about, Elizabeth? He asked my mother. She's lying, Brittany snapped. She's always been jealous of me. She's trying to ruin my wedding because her own life is such a disaster. I have proof, I replied calmly, pulling out my phone. Security footage of Mom using fraudulent credit cards. Documentation of the accounts opened in my name without my knowledge. A flash drive full of evidence that Brittany has been plotting to take my daughter away from me. Jack stepped forward, standing not beside Brittany but closer to me. It's true. I found the evidence myself. Brittany's face went white, then red with fury. You went through my things? After I saw how far you were willing to go to hurt your sister and her child? Yes. I had to know who I was really marrying. My mother tried a different approach. Angelita, sweetheart, there's been a misunderstanding. We were just trying to help with the wedding expenses. We always intended to pay those cards off ourselves. By opening accounts in my name without my knowledge? That's not help, Mom. That's fraud. Where's Emma? My father asked suddenly, looking around as if expecting to find her hiding somewhere. She should be here too. We're her family. Emma is safe. Away from all of you. What's that supposed to mean? Brittany demanded. It means that tomorrow, I'm filing for a restraining order to keep you away from my daughter, the same daughter you physically assaulted and have been systematically trying to destroy ever since. Assaulted? Jack's mother repeated, aghast. What is she talking about, Brittany? Show them the video, I said to Jack. He nodded, pulling out his phone. I think everyone should see exactly what happened at the engagement party. As the video played, the room grew deathly quiet. The footage was clear. Emma accidentally spilling the punch. Brittany's violent response. My parents rushing to comfort Brittany while Emma lay crying on the floor. When it ended, several guests were openly crying. That poor little girl, Jack's grandmother whispered. Brittany, realizing she was losing control of the situation, changed tactics. Emma has serious behavioral issues, she declared. This was just one incident in a pattern. Angelita is an unfit mother who works too much and neglects her child. We were trying to protect Emma by slapping her to the ground, by spreading rumors about her at school, by trying to take her away from the only parent who's ever protected her. My voice finally cracked with emotion. You have no idea what it takes to raise a child, Brittany. You have no idea about the sacrifices, the worry, the unconditional love. All you care about is yourself and your perfect image. And you two, I turn to my parents. You've enabled her cruelty her entire life. You've chosen her over me, over your own granddaughter, time and time again. That's not true, my father protested weakly. Isn't it? Where were you when Emma needed therapy? Where were you when she was being bullied at school because of lies Brittany spread? Where were you every single time she needed her grandparents? I turned to address the entire room. I came here tonight to say one thing. It stops now. The manipulation, the lies, the cruelty, all of it. I've filed police reports about the fraud. I've documented every threat, every attempt to undermine my relationship with my daughter. If any of you come near Emma again without my explicit permission, you will regret it. The silence was absolute. Even Brittany seemed stunned by my resolve. Jack's father stood up. I think we need to discuss whether this wedding should proceed at all. What? Brittany shrieked. You can't be serious. She's lying. The video wasn't lying, Jack said quietly. Neither are the documents I found in your office. I'm sorry, Brittany, but I can't marry someone who would treat a child that way. The room erupted into chaos. Brittany screamed accusations at me, at Jack, at his parents. My mother collapsed into dramatic sobs. My father tried to salvage the situation with empty promises and excuses. I walked out, head high, ignoring Brittany's threats that echoed behind me. You've ruined everything. I'll make you pay for this, Angelita. I'll take everything you love. As I drove to Lauren's to pick up Emma, my phone exploded with notifications. Jack had officially called off the wedding. Brittany was in hysterics. My parents were frantically trying to damage control with the guests. I felt no satisfaction, only a bone, deep exhaustion, and a small spark of hope that maybe, just maybe, my daughter and I could finally begin to heal. When I arrived at Lauren's, Emma was already asleep on the couch, looking peaceful for the first time in weeks. Lauren met me at the door with a cup of tea. How did it go? Better than I expected in some ways, worse in others. The wedding's off. Lauren nodded. Jack called me. He's staying at a hotel tonight. I sank onto her couch, suddenly overwhelmed by everything that had happened. What kind of family tries to steal a child from her mother? What kind of sister plots to destroy her own niece? Not a family worth keeping in your life, Lauren said gently. You and Emma deserve better. She's all I have, I whispered, looking at my sleeping daughter. Not anymore, Lauren replied firmly. You have me. You have Jack. You have Sarah and your neighbors and Emma's teachers and all the people who've seen the truth and chosen to stand with you. For the first time in months, I allowed myself to cry, not from fear or anger, but from relief that the worst might finally be over. The next morning, Emma spoke her first full sentence in weeks. Are we going to be okay, Mom? I hugged her tight. Yes, sweetie. We're going to be more than okay. The morning of what should have been Brittany's wedding dawned bright and clear. Emma and I ate breakfast together, both of us more relaxed than we had been in weeks. Does this mean we don't have to see Aunt Brittany anymore? Emma asked, carefully spreading peanut butter on her toast. Not unless you want to, sweetheart. And not until she sincerely apologizes and shows that she's changed. Emma considered this. I don't think she knows how to be sorry. Out of the mouths of babes. My 10-year-old daughter had just summarized my 32 years of experience with my sister. We were planning a quiet day at home when my phone rang. It was Jack, sounding stressed. Angelita, I need your help. Brittany is. She's not accepting that the wedding is off. She showed up at my parents' house this morning in her wedding dress, insisting everything was proceeding as planned. What did you tell her? The truth. That I can't marry someone who would treat a child the way she treated Emma. But she wouldn't listen. She's convinced you've manipulated me somehow, that once you're out of the picture, everything will go back to normal. A chill ran down my spine. What does that mean, out of the picture? I don't know exactly, but she said something about the church. That she'd deal with you there. I'm worried, Angelita. I've never seen her like this. After reassuring Jack that I'd be careful, I called Lauren and asked if Emma could spend the day with her. Of course, she said immediately. Is everything okay? I explained the situation. I think I need to go to the church. If Brittany's planning something, I need to know what it is. That doesn't sound safe. Let me call the police. And tell them what? That my sister is upset on her canceled wedding day? They won't do anything unless she actually does something. Then I'm coming with you. I'll pick up Emma now, and then meet you at the church. I agreed reluctantly. Having backup didn't seem like a bad idea. St. Catherine's Church was an imposing stone building in the historic district. As I approached, I saw several cars parked outside, including my parents' Mercedes and Brittany's white SUV. So they were going through with it? After everything that had happened? I parked across the street and waited for Lauren. She arrived 15 minutes later, her expression grim. Emma's with my neighbor Denise. She's a retired elementary school teacher, so she'll be fine. What's the plan here? I honestly don't know. I just need to see what Brittany's doing. We walked toward the church together. Through the large wooden doors, I could see movement inside. The sound of pipe organ music drifted out. Someone was practicing the wedding march. This is surreal, Lauren muttered. Jack made it absolutely clear the wedding was off. What does she think is going to happen? We slipped inside quietly, staying at the back of the church. What I saw stopped me cold. The church was decorated for a wedding, white flowers and ribbons adorning the pews. At the altar, my father stood with the priest, both looking uncomfortable. My mother sat in the front row, dabbing at her eyes with a handkerchief. And Brittany. Brittany was pacing back and forth in her wedding gown, phone pressed to her ear. "I don't care what you have to do," she was saying loudly enough for her voice to carry through the church. "Just get him here. He's confused, that's all. Once he sees me walking down the aisle, he'll remember why he loves me." The person on the other end said something that made Brittany scream in frustration. This is all her fault. If she hadn't turned everyone against me with her lies and that stupid video. I stepped forward into the aisle. "What exactly are you doing, Brittany?" Her head snapped up, eyes widening when she saw me. For a moment, she looked genuinely shocked, as if she couldn't believe I'd dare show my face. Then her expression hardened into something ugly and determined. "You. This is all because of you. The wedding is off, Brittany. Jack canceled it. You need to accept that and move on." She laughed, a high, brittle sound that echoed unnervingly in the vaulted space. "Move on? After you've destroyed everything I've worked for?" "I don't think so." My mother stood up. "Angelita, you shouldn't be here. Haven't you done enough damage?" "Me? Are you seriously blaming me for this situation? After what she did to Emma? After what all of you did?" My father approached, his face tight with anger. "This family crisis should be handled privately, not in a church on what was supposed to be your sister's special day. There is no special day. There is no wedding. Jack called it off because he finally saw who Brittany really is." Brittany's face contorted with rage. "You turned him against me, you and that brat of yours." Lauren stepped up beside me. "That brat is a traumatized child who has shown more maturity and resilience than any of you." "Who the hell are you?" my mother demanded. "I'm a licensed child psychologist who's been helping Emma recover from the abuse she suffered at the hands of your family." My father blanched at the word abuse. "Now wait just a minute." "No, you wait," I interrupted. "For years I've let you dismiss me, belittle me, and favor Brittany. I accepted it because that's just how our family worked. But when you started doing the same thing to my daughter, when you stood by while Brittany hit her, when you spread lies about her, when you tried to take her away from me, you crossed a line that can't be uncrossed." I pulled out my phone and held it up. "I have the police on speed dial. I have a lawyer who's preparing restraining orders against all of you. I have evidence of credit card fraud, defamation, and child abuse. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave this church, go home, and never contact me or Emma again unless you're ready to make genuine amends." Brittany stepped toward me, her white dress rustling ominously. "You think you've won, don't you? The perfect mother, the victim, the martyr. But what happens when Emma learns the truth about you? About how you trapped her father with a pregnancy he never wanted? About how you've used her as an excuse for your failures her entire life?" "Emma knows the truth," I replied steadily. "That I've loved her and protected her since the day she was born. That I've worked myself to exhaustion to give her a good life. That I would do anything to keep her safe, including cutting toxic people out of our lives." "You're going to regret this," Brittany hissed. "I was willing to help you, to give Emma the structure and stability she needs. But now I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of mother you really are." "Are you threatening me? In a church? With witnesses?" My father stepped between us. "Enough. Both of you. Stop this right now. We are a family, and we will work this out like a family." "No," I said firmly. "We're not a family anymore. Not in any way that matters." I turned to leave, Lauren by my side. As we reached the door, I heard my father call my name, his voice suddenly desperate. "Angelita, wait, please. Don't do this." I stopped but didn't turn around. "I'm not doing anything, Dad. I'm just finally protecting myself and my daughter. Something I should have done years ago." Lauren and I walked out into the sunlight, leaving the hollow spectacle of the wedding, that wasn't behind us. As we reached my car, my phone rang, an unknown number. "Miss Porter? This is Officer Ramirez with the police department. We've arrested Elizabeth and Richard Porter on charges of credit card fraud and identity theft. They've asked to speak with you." I thanked him for the information and ended the call, feeling strangely empty. My parents had finally faced consequences for their actions, but there was no satisfaction in it, only a profound sadness for what our family could have been. Are you okay? Lauren asked gently. Not yet, I admitted. But I will be. We both will. As we drove away from the church, I caught a glimpse in my rearview mirror. Brittany standing on the steps in her wedding dress, alone and diminished, watching us go with an expression of impotent rage. For the first time, I felt something unexpected toward my sister. Pity. 10 minutes after leaving the church, my phone rang again. This time, it was my father's number. I hesitated before answering, putting the call on speaker so Lauren could hear. Angelita. My father's voice was shaking. Your mother. She's had a heart attack. The world seemed to tilt. Despite everything, these were still my parents. Is she okay? They're taking her to Memorial Hospital now. It happened right after the police released us on bail. She collapsed in the parking lot. I'll meet you there. Lauren gave me a concerned look as I ended the call. Are you sure? This could be another manipulation. I sighed. It could be. But if it's not, and I don't go. I understand. Do you want me to come with you? No, thank you. You've done so much already. I need to face this on my own. At the hospital, I found my father pacing in the waiting room, looking suddenly old and frail. When he saw me, his face crumpled. Thank you for coming. How is she? Stable. The doctor says it was stress-induced, not a major attack. They want to keep her overnight for observation. I nodded, maintaining emotional distance. That's good news. We sat in uncomfortable silence for several minutes before he spoke again. Angelita, I don't know how we got here. Don't you? Because it seems pretty clear to me. You and Mom always favored Brittany. You excused her behavior no matter how cruel or destructive. You helped her try to destroy me and take my daughter away. And when it all fell apart, you blamed me instead of holding her accountable. He winced at each accusation but didn't deny them. We never meant for things to go this far. But they did go this far, Dad. And now we all have to live with the consequences. A doctor approached to inform us that we could see my mother briefly. In her hospital room, she looked small against the white sheets, an oxygen cannula in her nose, and monitors beeping steadily beside her. You came, she said weakly when she saw me. Of course I did. Is Emma with you? No, she's safe with friends. My mother closed her eyes. You think we need to protect her from us? I know I do. We love her, Angelita. She's our granddaughter. Love isn't enough, Mom. Not when it comes with conditions and cruelty and favoritism. Emma deserves better than what this family has offered her. My mother began to cry softly. I don't want to lose you both. That's up to you. If you want to be part of our lives, things have to change. Fundamentally change. No more enabling Brittany. No more dismissing Emma's needs. No more treating me like I'm less important than my sister. My father took my hand tentatively. We want to try. Please, give us a chance to make this right. I gently withdrew my hand. Words aren't enough anymore. I need to see real change, consistent over time. And until then, Emma and I need space to heal. I left the hospital feeling drained but resolute. The ball was in their court now. I had set my boundaries, and for the first time, I felt strong enough to maintain them, regardless of the emotional pressure my family might apply. When I picked up Emma from Lauren's house, she was playing a board game with Lauren and Jack, laughing in a way I hadn't heard in months. The sound brought tears to my eyes. Mom! She ran to hug me. Jack taught me how to play Catan. Did he now? I smiled at Jack over her head. Having fun? The most fun, Emma declared. Can we stay longer? We should probably head home, sweetie. It's been a long day. Actually, Lauren interjected, I was going to suggest pizza and a movie night. If you're up for it? The old Angelita would have declined, would have retreated to lick her wounds in private. But looking at my daughter's hopeful face, I made a different choice. That sounds perfect. Over the next few weeks, Emma and I began to rebuild our lives. The legal issues with my parents were resolved when they agreed to pay off all the fraudulent credit card debt and submit to financial monitoring. Brittany, facing potential assault charges based on the video evidence, reluctantly wrote a formal apology to Emma and agreed to attend anger management therapy. Emma's recovery was gradual, but steady. With continued therapy and the knowledge that she was truly safe and protected, she began speaking normally again. Her nightmares became less frequent. She even started talking about the incident, processing it in her own 10-year-old way. "Why was Aunt Brittany so mean to me?" she asked one evening, as I tucked her into bed. I considered how to answer truthfully without burdening her. Some people don't know how to handle their big feelings in a healthy way. When they get angry or scared or jealous, they hurt others instead of talking about what's wrong. Like when Danny pushed me on the playground because I got picked for the game and he didn't? Exactly like that. But Danny apologized right away and learned from his mistake, right? That's what grown-ups are supposed to do too. Emma thought about this. "Do you think Aunt Brittany will learn?" "I hope so, sweetie. But that's her journey, not ours." 3 months after the wedding that never was, Jack invited us to a small gathering at his new apartment. Lauren was there, along with Sarah and a few other friends who had supported us through the crisis. "I have news," Jack announced during dinner. "I've accepted a position with a firm in Colorado. I'm moving next month." While everyone congratulated him, I felt an unexpected pang. Jack had become an important part of our support system. Later, as we were helping clean up, he pulled me aside. "I wanted to thank you, Angelita." "Thank me? For what?" "For showing me what real courage looks like. What you did for Emma, standing up to your entire family, it inspired me to make changes in my own life." I smiled. "We inspired each other, I think." "There's something else. Lauren has decided to move to Colorado too. She's been offered a position at a prestigious children's hospital there." "That's wonderful," I said, genuinely happy for them both, though I'd miss Lauren terribly. "We were hoping. That is, we wondered if you and Emma might consider a fresh start too. The hospital where I'll be working has an excellent pediatric nursing department with several openings." The offer caught me by surprise. "You want us to move to Colorado?" "Only if you want to. But Lauren and I have talked about it, and we think it could be good for all of us. A new beginning, away from all the painful history here." I promised to think about it, and over the next few weeks, the idea took root. Emma was enthusiastic about the possibility of mountains and snow. I researched the hospital and found that the positions available would actually be a step up in my career, and the thought of putting physical distance between us and my family's toxic influence was undeniably appealing. 6 months after Brittany slapped Emma at her engagement party, we packed our belongings and headed west, toward a future we would shape on our own terms. My parents came to say goodbye the day we left. They had been making small efforts to change, attending family therapy, respecting my boundaries, showing genuine interest in Emma's well-being. It wasn't enough to fully rebuild trust, but it was a start. "We'll come visit when you're settled," my mother promised, hugging Emma carefully. "If that's okay with you," my father added, looking to me for permission. I nodded. "We'd like that, as long as everyone remembers the new ground rules." Brittany didn't come to say goodbye. According to my mother, she had moved to New York to reinvent herself. I wished her well from a distance, hoping she would find the help she needed to address her deep-seated issues. Our new life in Colorado exceeded all expectations. Emma thrived in her new school, making friends easily and excelling academically. My position at the hospital was challenging and fulfilling. Lauren and Jack became the extended family we had always deserved, supportive, respectful, and genuinely loving. On the 1-year anniversary of the incident that had changed everything, Emma asked if we could have a special dinner to celebrate what she called our Bravery Day. "Bravery Day?" I repeated, curious. "Yeah, the day we were brave enough to stand up for ourselves and start our new life." We invited Lauren and Jack over for a simple meal of Emma's favorites. As we ate, Emma surprised us all by asking to make a speech. She stood beside the table, looking suddenly grown up, in a way that made my heart ache. 1 year ago, something really bad happened. It was scary and sad and made me feel like maybe I was bad too. But my mom showed me that standing up for yourself isn't bad, even when it's really hard. She taught me that family should make you feel safe and loved, not scared and small. Emma looked at me with such pride that tears filled my eyes. And now we have a new family. Not because we're related, but because we choose each other every day. So, I want to say thank you to my mom for being the bravest person I know, and to Lauren and Jack for showing us that good people are out there if you're brave enough to find them. As Lauren wiped away tears and Jack cleared his throat emotionally, I realized how far we had come. From that terrible moment when my daughter lay crying on the floor while my family turned their backs, to this warm kitchen filled with genuine love and respect, the journey hadn't been easy. Standing against the tide of family expectations and manipulations had required courage I hadn't known I possessed. But looking at my daughter, confident, healing, thriving, I knew I would do it all again in a heartbeat. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is set boundaries with those who claim to love us but hurt us. Sometimes the family we need isn't the one we're born into, but the one we build around us, person by person, choice by choice. And sometimes the greatest act of love is simply saying no more to those who would harm the people we're meant to protect. What would you do if you had to choose between family loyalty and protecting your child? Have you ever had to set difficult boundaries with loved ones? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share with someone who might need to hear it. Thank you for listening, and remember, your worth isn't determined by those who fail to see it, but by the courage you show in honoring it every day.